The Deep Space Monitoring Station Artemis picked up the anomaly at 02:47 Earth Standard Time. Lieutenant Raj Patel nearly spilled his coffee when the readings appeared on his screen, a massive energy signature unlike anything humanity had ever encountered, moving at impossible speeds through the Kuiper belt. Director Frost, sir, Raj's voice trembled slightly as he spoke into the comm. You need to see this immediately. Within minutes, Director Julian Frost stood in the monitoring station's main chamber, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic display. The object's trajectory was clear. It was heading straight for Earth, and its speed was beyond anything in the known universe. Match it against all known signatures, Frost ordered, his gray eyes fixed on the approaching anomaly. The computer churned through thousands of records before finding a partial match that made everyone in the room freeze. Sir, it's the Phoenix, or at least it was. The ISS Phoenix had disappeared 10 years ago during humanity's first attempt to reach the Andromeda Galaxy. Under the command of Captain Marcus Wung, the ship and its crew of 250 had vanished without a trace, becoming one of the greatest mysteries in human space exploration. But the vessel approaching Earth barely resembled the original Phoenix. Its hull was covered in intricate patterns of light that seemed to flow like liquid starlight. The ship's very structure appeared to be in constant flux, as if it was breathing. Send the first contact protocols, Frost commanded, and get me Captain Wung's family. Dr. Naomi Wung had never given up hope of finding her brother. As the leading quantum physicist at the Global Space Initiative, she had spent the last decade developing new theories about her brother's disappearance. When the security team arrived at her lab, she knew before they spoke. He's back, isn't he? The response from the transformed Phoenix came not as a traditional transmission, but as a quantum pulse that temporarily linked every communication device within a 1,000-mile radius. Captain Marcus Wung's face appeared on every screen, but like his ship, he too had changed. His skin had a subtle iridescence, and his eyes shifted colors like an aurora. This is Captain Marcus Wung of the ISS Phoenix. His voice resonated with an otherworldly harmony. We have returned with knowledge and technology beyond human comprehension, but our arrival brings both hope and warning. The galaxy faces extinction, and Earth has 11 months to prepare. In the following hours, Earth's military mobilized as the Phoenix entered orbit. The ship's transformation became even more apparent up close. It had nearly doubled in size, and the flowing patterns of light across its hull formed impossible geometric shapes that seemed to exist in more than 3 dimensions. A delegation led by Director Frost prepared to board the Phoenix. Dr. Naomi Wung insisted on joining, despite security protocols. As they approached in a shuttle, she pressed her hand against the viewport, watching the ship that had taken her brother growing larger. The docking procedure defied standard physics. Instead of mechanical seals, the Phoenix's hull seemed to adapt and merge with their shuttle, creating a seamless passage. As they stepped aboard, they entered a space that challenged their understanding of reality. The interior was a fusion of organic and technological elements, with corridors that shifted and adapted to the crew's movements. Light pulsed through crystalline structures that seemed to serve as both power conduits and living tissue. Captain Wung waited for them in what had once been the bridge. His uniform had evolved into something that looked like liquid metal, and when he moved, he left traces of quantum echoes in the air. But when he smiled at his sister, Naomi saw the same warmth she remembered from their childhood. The universe is far stranger and more dangerous than we imagined, Marcus said, embracing Naomi. We encountered beings called the quantum architects. They showed us the truth about reality itself, and they changed us to help us survive what's coming. What exactly is coming? Frost demanded. Marcus gestured, and the space around them transformed into a cosmic view that made several delegation members stumble. They stood in what appeared to be the void between galaxies, watching as entire star systems were consumed by a darkness that moved with terrible purpose. We call them the Void Harbingers, Marcus explained. They're ancient entities that feed on the fundamental forces of reality itself. They've already consumed 3 galaxies and our own is next. But the architects gave us the tools to fight back. They transformed us, our ship, our very understanding of physics. To demonstrate, Marcus raised his hand, and a portion of the ship's hull became transparent, revealing the quantum machinery that now powered the Phoenix. It was technology that made Earth's most advanced achievements look like stone tools in comparison. We need Earth's help, Marcus continued. The Phoenix is powerful, but we'll need more ships, more crews willing to undergo the transformation. Humanity must evolve or we will cease to exist. As the delegation struggled to process this information, Naomi stepped forward and took her brother's hand. His skin was warm but vibrated with subtle energy that made her fingers tingle. "Whatever you need," she said, "I'm with you." The first day of humanity's greatest challenge had begun, and the transformed crew of the Phoenix would soon discover that convincing Earth to embrace such radical change would be almost as difficult as facing the cosmic horror approaching from the depths of space. Chief Engineer Olivia Rhodes stood in her transformed engine room, watching quantum particles dance between her fingers like fireflies. After 10 subjective years merged with the Phoenix's new systems, the display of quantum manipulation had become as natural as breathing. But to the Earth delegation watching her demonstration, it was nothing short of miraculous. "The architects didn't just give us technology," she explained, condensing the particles into a miniature galaxy that rotated above her palm. "They awakened abilities that were always dormant in human DNA, were the next step in human evolution." Dr. Naomi Wong watched in fascination as Olivia manipulated quantum forces with casual ease. The engineer's dark skin now had an opalescent quality, and her movements left trailing echoes in spacetime itself. How did the transformation process work? Olivia gestured, and the engine room's walls became transparent, revealing the quantum core that now powered the Phoenix. It pulsed with energies that shouldn't exist in normal space, yet somehow felt natural, almost alive. "It began with fear," Olivia admitted. "We were being pulled into what we thought was a black hole, but it was actually a void harbinger feeding ground. The architects found us there at the edge of oblivion. They had been watching humanity for centuries, waiting for us to reach a crucial point in our development." The room shifted, and suddenly they were surrounded by a holographic memory of the Phoenix's encounter. The architects appeared as beings of pure crystalline energy, their forms constantly shifting between states of matter that human science had never dreamed of. "They offered us a choice," Olivia continued. "Die as we were or evolve to fight alongside them. Captain Wong volunteered first, showing us it was safe. I was second." She smiled at the memory. The pain was intense, but the awakening that followed. Her eyes shifted to a deep violet color with the recollection. Director Frost stepped forward, his military bearing at odds with the fluid environment of the transformed ship. "And what exactly did you awaken to, Chief Rhodes?" "Understanding," she replied. "The universe isn't what we thought. Reality itself is conscious and we're part of its immune system. The void harbingers are like a cancer, consuming consciousness itself. The architects have been fighting them for millions of years, searching for species with the potential to join their cause." In the medical bay, Dr. Victor Hassan, the Phoenix's chief medical officer, was conducting detailed scans of his transformed crew members for the Earth scientists. His own transformation had given him unprecedented insight into human biology, allowing him to see the quantum structures underlying all life. "The changes are comprehensive but not random," he explained, displaying a holographic model of their altered DNA. "The architects activated what they called quantum codons, dormant segments of our genetic code that allowed us to perceive and manipulate higher dimensions of reality." The implications stunned Earth's scientific community. Humanity had not just received advanced technology, they had been given the keys to their own evolutionary potential. But with this gift came an enormous responsibility and an immediate threat. Captain Wong assembled the senior staff in the Phoenix's quantum chamber, where the ship's consciousness now resided. The room rippled with patterns of thought made visible, a direct interface between mind and machine that transcended traditional technology. "The Void Harbingers have accelerated their approach," he announced, his voice resonating with quantum harmonics. "We've detected their quantum wake at the edge of the Andromeda Galaxy. They've never moved this fast before. They sense the threat we represent," said Commander Diana Chen, the Phoenix's tactical officer. Her transformed consciousness could now process combat scenarios across multiple dimensional planes simultaneously. "The architects warned us this might happen. Our very existence changes the game." Dr. Naomi Wong, watching her brother command this crew of evolved humans, felt both awe and determination. "How long would the transformation process take for new volunteers?" she asked. "Earth needs to be ready." Olivia Rhodes interfaced directly with the ship's quantum core, calculations flowing through her enhanced mind. With the Phoenix's help, we could transform 100 volunteers every day, but they need to be physically and psychologically compatible. The wrong candidate, she shuddered, remembering the one crew member whose transformation had failed catastrophically. Director Frost, who had been quietly observing, finally spoke. The world's governments are divided on this issue. Some see you as humanity's salvation. Others view you as a potential threat, no longer truly human. Captain Wang's response was interrupted by a quantum alarm that resonated through the ship's living walls. Commander Chen's eyes widened as she processed the incoming data. Multiple quantum ruptures detected in the Kuiper belt, the harbingers sent scouts. The Phoenix's quantum core pulsed with power as the crew instantly connected with their stations through thought alone. On Earth, military installations around the world detected the approaching threat, but their sensors could barely comprehend what they were seeing. "Show them," Captain Wang commanded. The Phoenix's external cameras activated, broadcasting to every major military command center on Earth. The footage showed dark shapes emerging from tiers in space itself, void harbinger scout vessels that defied physics and sanity in equal measure. Dr. Naomi Wang watched as her brother's transformed crew prepared for humanity's first encounter with their ancient enemy. The Phoenix's hull shifted and flowed like liquid metal, quantum weapons emerging from previously unseen dimensions. "Now they'll understand," Olivia Rhodes said softly, her hands dancing through quantum fire as she prepared the engines for combat. "Now they'll see why we had to change." The battle for humanity's evolution was about to begin, and Earth would witness firsthand the power of their transformed children. In the quantum chamber, Captain Wang sent a final thought through the ship's consciousness. "Show them what humanity can become." The Void Harbinger scouts emerged from quantum space like living shadows, their forms constantly shifting between states of matter that human sensors couldn't properly process. Earth's defense grid registered them as holes in reality itself, places where the laws of physics simply cease to function. Commander Diana Chen's enhanced consciousness tracked all 5 scout vessels simultaneously, mapping their quantum signatures through 11 dimensions of space-time. "They're testing our defenses," she reported, her voice carrying harmonic overtones that made the quantum chamber resonate, "looking for weak points in local space-time." Captain Marcus Wang stood at the center of the Phoenix's bridge, now a living interface of consciousness and quantum technology. Through his enhanced senses, he could feel the enemy's presence like a cold void in the fabric of reality. Status of Earth's defense fleet. 30 warships approaching from lunar orbit, Lieutenant Raj Patel reported from his station, where streams of data flowed through his transformed neural pathways. But their weapons will be useless against quantum phase entities. The Phoenix's hull rippled with anticipation, its quantum-integrated structure responding to the crew's collective will. Director Frost, watching from the auxiliary command station, witnessed humanity's transformed children prepare for battle in ways his unaltered mind could barely comprehend. "Show us what you can do," he said quietly. Captain Wang's eyes flared with quantum fire. "Olivia, engage the reality drive. Diana, prepare the phase cannons. All hands battle stations." The Phoenix moved with impossible grace, its quantum engines bending spacetime rather than pushing against it. To Earth's conventional sensors, the ship seemed to flicker in and out of existence, leaving trails of probability in its wake. The first Void Harbinger scout attacked without warning, launching tendrils of anti-reality that would have erased normal matter from existence. But the Phoenix's quantum shields, powered by the crew's collective consciousness, flared with dimensional energy. "They're scanning our evolutionary signature," Dr. Victor Hassan announced, his medical insights now extending into quantum biology. "They recognize the architect's work. We've made them angry." The battle that followed defied conventional physics. The Phoenix engaged the scouts in quantum combat, weapons fire that existed in multiple states simultaneously, shields that drew power from probability itself. Through it all, Earth's defense fleet could only watch in awe as reality itself became a battlefield. Commander Chen's tactical genius, enhanced by her transformation, predicted the scouts' movements through quantum space. "They're trying to establish a null point," she warned, "a space where consciousness cannot exist." "Not on our watch," Captain Wang responded. The Phoenix's quantum core pulsed with power as the crew linked their minds more deeply with the ship's systems. Olivia Rhodes channeled impossible energies through the reality drive, allowing them to match the scouts' dimensional shifts. The void entities reacted with increasing aggression, their forms becoming more solid as they committed more fully to this plane of existence. That was their mistake. Now Wang commanded. The Phoenix unleashed its full quantum arsenal. Beams of concentrated consciousness cut through the Scout's quantum fields, forcing them to maintain singular states of existence. Commander Chen's targeting was precise, striking through multiple dimensions to hit the entity's core consciousness. Three of the Scouts were destroyed instantly, their anti-reality forms collapsing in on themselves. A fourth retreated through a tear in spacetime, but the fifth and largest remained, gathering darkness around itself like armor. It's trying to send a signal, Raj reported, his enhanced senses detecting the quantum transmission, calling for reinforcements. Captain Wang's decision was instant. We can't let that happen. Olivia, give me everything the drive has. Diana, prepare for dimensional override. The Phoenix's structure began to glow with accumulated quantum energy. The crew's transformed consciousness feeding power directly into the ship's weapons. Director Frost and Dr. Naomi Wang watched in amazement as reality itself seemed to bend around the vessel. Brothers, Naomi whispered, what are you doing? The answer came not in words but in action. The Phoenix executed a maneuver that should have been impossible, shifting through 7 dimensions at once to appear inside the Scout's quantum field. For a moment, ship and crew existed in the same space as the void entity, their opposing natures creating a catastrophic reaction. Fire, Wang commanded. The Phoenix released a burst of pure consciousness, transformed into energy by the architect's quantum technology. The void entity's anti-reality field collapsed, its form unraveling across multiple dimensions until nothing remained but quickly fatting ripples in space-time. In the aftermath, as Earth's defense fleet approached cautiously, the crew of the Phoenix recovered from the intense quantum merger. Their transformed bodies glowed with residual energy, a visible reminder of how far they had evolved beyond their original forms. Status report, Wang requested, his voice carrying echoes of the dimensional shift they had just performed. Quantum core at 60% and recharging, Olivia reported. Hull integrity stable across all observed dimensions, no casualties. Director Frost stepped forward, his expression a mixture of awe and concern. That was impressive, Captain, but those were just scouts. What happens when the main force arrives? Now you understand why we need to begin transforming volunteers immediately, Wang replied. What you just witnessed was the Phoenix operating at barely 30% of its potential, with a full fleet of quantum-enhanced ships and crews. The world's governments will want proof, Frost interrupted. Data they can verify, evidence that this transformation is safe and reversible. Commander Chen's quantum-enhanced senses suddenly flared. Captain, I'm detecting temporal distortions at the edge of the solar system, more quantum ruptures forming. How many? Wang asked, though his enhanced consciousness was already processing the answer. All of them, she replied grimly. The harbingers aren't waiting anymore. The full invasion has begun. The Phoenix's quantum core pulsed with renewed energy as the crew prepared for what was coming. They had won their first battle, proved their worth to Earth, but the real war was just beginning, and humanity's time to evolve was running out. The United Earth Defense Council chamber had never been so crowded. Representatives from every major nation watched the holographic display showing the approaching Void Harbinger fleet. Thanks to the Phoenix's quantum sensors, they could see the true scale of the threat: thousands of reality-warping vessels, each capable of erasing entire cities from existence. Dr. Naomi Wang stood before the assembly, her presentation backed by hard data from the recent Scout battle. The transformation process has been validated by every major research institution. The Phoenix's crew aren't just still human, they're what humanity could become. Behind her, Captain Marcus Wang and his senior staff stood as living proof of the process. Their transformed bodies drew every eye in the room, quantum energy flowing beneath their skin like liquid starlight. We have 3 weeks before the main fleet arrives, Marcus announced, his voice carrying quantum harmonics that made the room's electronics hum in sympathy. The Phoenix can transform and train 50 volunteers per day. We need your best pilots, scientists, and soldiers. Director Frost stepped forward, his military authority adding weight to the proposal. I've personally witnessed their capabilities. One transformed ship defeated 5 Void Scouts. Imagine what an entire fleet could do. The Chinese military representative spoke first. And if the transformation fails, or worse, if it succeeds too well, what prevents these evolved humans from turning against us? Olivia Rhodes raised her hand, quantum particles dancing between her fingers. The architects built safeguards into the process. More importantly, the transformation enhances what makes us human, our consciousness, our empathy, our connection to life itself. We fight the void because it threatens all consciousness, not just humanity. The debate raged for hours, but the approaching threat made the decision inevitable. Operation Evolution was approved by an overwhelming majority. Within days, the Phoenix's quantum chamber was reconfigured to handle multiple transformations simultaneously. The first volunteer group included test pilot Jin Kamura, whose simulator scores were off the charts, and Dr. Kira Patel, a quantum physicist who had spent years theorizing about multiple dimensions. They stood in the transformation chamber, surrounded by crystalline structures that pulsed with otherworldly energy. The process requires absolute mental focus, Dr. Victor Hassan explained, his transformed consciousness monitoring their biological signatures. Don't fight the quantum resonance. Let it show you what you can become. The chamber filled with energy that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Jin and Kira gasped as their consciousness expanded, experiencing reality through new senses that their original bodies couldn't have comprehended. The pain was intense, but brief, a small price for transcendence. Meanwhile, Earth's shipyards worked around the clock, modifying existing vessels with quantum technology provided by the Phoenix. The first successful conversion was the S-Hyperion, a state-of-the-art battlecruiser that would serve as the template for humanity's evolved fleet. Commander Diana Chen led the tactical training, teaching the newly transformed crews how to think in 11 dimensions and fight across multiple planes of reality. The Void Harbingers exist partly outside normal spacetime, she explained. To defeat them, you need to engage them everywhere they exist simultaneously. The transformation success rate was higher than anyone had dared hope. 97% of volunteers completed the process successfully, their enhanced minds linking naturally with the quantum technology. Each new transformation strengthened the growing network of evolved consciousness that would be crucial in the coming battle. But time was running out. The Void Fleet had already consumed the outer systems, their passage marked by stars that simply ceased to exist. Pluto's orbit was the first to go, followed by Neptune's. They were systematically erasing the solar system's quantum signature, preparing spacetime itself for consumption. Captain Wang called an emergency meeting of all transformed crew members, their combined consciousness filling the Phoenix's quantum network. The Harbingers are moving faster than predicted. We need to accelerate the program. The human brain isn't designed for this level of acceleration, Dr. Hassan warned. Pushing the transformation process any harder could be catastrophic. We don't have a choice, Olivia countered. Look at these readings. The Void Fleet isn't just approaching, they're altering spacetime as they come. In 7 days, Earth's region of space won't support conventional matter anymore. The newly transformed Jin Kamura, his consciousness still adjusting to its expanded state, offered a solution. What if we don't wait for full adaptation? My team can already interface with the quantum systems. We're not at your level yet, but we can fight. Dr. Kira Patel's quantum-enhanced mind ran the calculations. If we deploy at 70% transformation, we could double our fleet strength in time for the confrontation. The risk to individual crews would increase by 40%, but Earth would have a fighting chance, Director Frost finished. His unaltered mind couldn't directly interface with their quantum network, but decades of military experience told him this was their best option. Captain Wang made the call, notify all transformation centers. As soon as crews can maintain quantum coherence, deploy them to their ships. The Hyperion fleet will form our first line of defense. Around Earth, transformed humans began taking command of their upgraded vessels. The ship's quantum cores pulsed in harmony with their crew's enhanced consciousness, creating a defense network that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Dr. Naomi Wang watched from the Phoenix's bridge as the transformed fleet assembled in high orbit. The ships moved with impossible grace, their quantum drives bending reality around them. Her brother's gamble had paid off, humanity was evolving just in time. But as the Void Harbingers approached, consuming Uranus and its moons, a terrible question remained. Would this new evolution be enough to save Earth from the coming darkness? Saturn's rings were the first to vanish. The billions of ice particles simply ceased to exist as the Void Harbinger fleet approached, their world-ending presence warping the fabric of reality itself. Earth's transformed fleet waited in Mars' orbit, 50 quantum-enhanced vessels crewed by humanity's evolved children, their consciousness linked across multiple dimensions. The Phoenix led the formation, Captain Marcus Wung standing at its heart, his transformed mind connected to every ship and crew member in the fleet. Through their shared quantum network, he could feel their determination, their fear, and their readiness to face extinction itself to protect their home. All ships report status, he commanded, his voice resonating through quantum space. Hyperion Battle Group ready, Jin Kimura responded, his partially transformed consciousness burning bright with purpose. The massive battle cruiser and its escorts pulsed with quantum energy, their upgraded weapons capable of striking through multiple dimensions. Science Division standing by, Dr. Kira Patel announced from the S-Tesla, her vessel's sensors probing the approaching void for weaknesses. The reality distortions are off the scale. They're not just destroying matter, they're erasing the possibility of existence itself. Commander Diana Chen's tactical analysis flowed through the network. Void fleet approaching in five-dimensional formation, detecting over 3,000 capital ships, each capable of consuming a continent. They've never committed this much force to a single system. Because they fear what we've become, Olivia Rhodes said from her station, the Phoenix's quantum core humming with power. The architects chose humanity for a reason. Today we prove them right. The Void Harbingers struck without warning or ultimatum. Reality itself seemed to tear apart as their massive fleet emerged from quantum space, their ships like living shadows that devoured light and matter alike. The front line of their formation simply erased an asteroid field from existence, not destroying the rocks, but removing any possibility that they had ever been there. All ships execute Battle Plan Omega, Captain Wung commanded. Remember your training, exist in all dimensions, strike from angles they can't defend. The human fleet exploded into action, their quantum drives allowing them to fight in ways their unaltered ancestors could never have imagined. The Hyperion led its battle group in a maneuver that took them through 7 dimensions at once, emerging behind the Void fleet's forward elements. The battle that followed defied conventional physics and human understanding. Ships phased in and out of normal spacetime, quantum weapons fire existing in multiple states simultaneously. The Void Harbingers responded with weapons that didn't just destroy their targets, they erased them from history itself. Tesla to Phoenix, Dr. Patel's voice cut through the quantum network. I'm detecting a pattern in their attack formation. They're not just fighting us, they're preparing to initiate a cosmic nullification event. Explain, Wung demanded, even as the Phoenix's weapons tore through 3 Void ships. They're going to collapse all possible timelines. Kira's quantum-enhanced mind processed the implications. Not just destroying Earth, but ensuring it never existed in any reality. Through their shared consciousness, the transformed fleet realized the true stakes. This wasn't just a battle for survival, it was a fight for the very concept of human existence. New plan, Captain Wung announced, his mind reaching out to touch every transformed crew member. We need to synchronize our quantum cores. Dr. Patel's data shows a weakness in their dimensional structure if we can hit it from enough angles simultaneously. The power requirements would burn out our ships, Olivia warned. Even with the quantum enhancements, we'd be looking at total system failure. Better than total existence failure, Jin Kimura responded, the Hyperion already moving into position. Across the fleet, transformed crews made their choice, their enhanced consciousness accepting the sacrifice that might save humanity. The Void fleet seemed to sense their intention. Their formation shifted, cosmic darkness gathering around their largest vessels as they prepared to initiate the nullification event. At their center, a void opened that threatened to swallow reality itself. All ships link quantum cores, Wung commanded. Channel everything through the Phoenix. We do this together or not at all. Through their shared consciousness, 50 ships and their evolved crews became one entity. The power of their combined quantum cores created a cascade of energy that existed in all dimensions simultaneously. The Phoenix, at the heart of the formation, began to glow with impossible light. Now, the human fleet struck as one, their quantum weapons enhanced by their unified consciousness. The blast existed everywhere at once, a concentrated point of pure reality that countered the void's entropy. For a moment that stretched across multiple dimensions, two fundamental forces of the universe clashed. The Void Harbinger's nullification event collapsed in on itself, their dimensional technology overwhelmed by the concentrated power of evolved human consciousness. Their fleet, caught in the quantum backwash, began to break apart, their anti-reality nature unable to maintain coherence. As the battle ended, the cost became clear. Most of the human fleet's quantum cores were burned out, their transformed crews exhausted but alive. The Phoenix, having channeled the bulk of the energy, was barely holding together. "Status report," Wang requested, his voice weak but proud. "The Void Fleet is retreating," Commander Chen confirmed. "Their dimensional signatures are fading. We actually did it." Dr. Kira Patel's analysis came through the damaged quantum network. The nullification point has been neutralized. Earth's timeline is secure. All possible futures are still possible. As the transformed fleet limped home to a grateful Earth, Captain Marcus Wung looked out at the stars that still existed because humanity had evolved to defend them. The architects had been right about human potential. This victory would mark not just humanity's survival, but the beginning of their ascension. "Send word to Earth," he commanded. Tell them humanity is ready for what comes next." The Phoenix led its battered but triumphant fleet home, their transformed crews forever changed by what they had accomplished. They had faced extinction itself and emerged victorious, proving that humanity's greatest strength wasn't the technology they had been given or even the evolution they had undergone, but their unwavering determination to exist, to grow, and to reach their full potential across all possible realities.